Stage 15, Rex Cogidobnus. This stage begins on page 51. Rex is a word that we should know. It means king. Cogidobnus kind of looks like it might be a Latin word because it ends with a US. It's a pretty strange word. Cogidobnus was a real dude, and he was the king of the Regences tribe in southern Britain. He was an ally to Rome. When Claudius came and conquered Britain, the second time the Romans tried to conquer the island, they actually came to stay, and Cogidobnus allied with the Romans and helped them to conquer his own homeland. And because of this, he was rewarded with maintaining his king status, being a client of the Roman emperor. He adopted Roman styles, he adopted Roman dress, he adopted the Latin language, he adopted all these things that he thought were going to be beneficial to his people, which were to a certain extent. However, he did sell out his people when he allied with them. So maybe a good guy, maybe not. But let's meet him. This is model sentences starting number 1 on page 52. Number 1. Multi Britanni ad aulum venerant. Senex, comma, qui sceptrum tenebat, comma, arat rex cogidobnus. Right. A sceptrum is a scepter. It's that thing that lets you know that he is a king. We have two sentences here. The first sentence is a fairly simple sentence. Multi Britanni ad aulum venerant. Right. Lots of Brits came to the palace. Sentence 2 is rather a complex sentence because it has two ideas in it. Senex, comma, qui sceptrum tenebat, comma, arat rex cogidobnus. Please notice that qui here is a vocab word. It means who, but it isn't a question who. It's just referring back to the old man. We have two ideas in this sentence. Right? We have the idea that the old man was Cogidobnus, and we have the idea who was holding a scepter, who is referring back to the old man. Two ideas, two verbs, two ideas. The old man who was holding a scepter was King Cogidobnus, and that who there is just referring back to the old man. Sentence 2. Femina proprie cogidobnum sedebat. Femina, comma, quae coronam gerebat, comma, arat regina. I gave you the word corona, meaning crown. You may not know the word gerebat or regina, but what do you do with a crown? And who might a regina be if she's sitting next to the king? You can figure it out. Again, two sentences. The first one is a simple sentence, femina proprie cogidum sedebat. Sentence 2 has more information. It's got two verbs in there. Femina, comma, quae coronam gerebat arat regina. Quae is another one of our vocab words. It means who, yet again, but not a question. It's referring back to the femina. Two ideas. Idea number 1 is that the woman was the queen. Idea number 2, who, referring back to the woman, was wearing a crown. The woman who was wearing a crown was the queen. In these complex sentences, there's one idea that is the main idea, the one that we can't do without. In complex sentences, the secondary ideas, they can be left out, and they wouldn't necessarily impact the sentence other than make it a little bit boring. 3. Multi Romani cogidobno res pretiosas dabant. Donum, comma, quod regum maxime delectavit, comma, arat equus. Res pretiosas are given to you as expensive things, or perhaps even precious things. A simple sentence, multi Romani cogidobno res pretiosas dabant. We have many Romans who gave to Cogidobnus those res pretiosas. Sentence 2, two verbs. In sentence 1, we only had one verb. We only had the verb dabant. It's a longer sentence, but it's not a complex sentence. In sentence 2, we have two verbs. We have delectavit and arat. So we have two competing ideas here. Quod, yet again, is a vocab word. It means which, but not a which as in a question. It's just referring back to the gift. Two ideas. Donum arat equus, the gift was a horse. Idea number 2, which, referring back to the gift, greatly delighted the king. The gift, which greatly delighted the king, was a horse. Yet again, we have one main idea. The second idea can be left out. Duai en kilai ad regem venerant. Vinum, comma, quod en kilai ferebant, comma, rat in patera aurea. Rex vinum libavit. Two words here. Well, two things here. Patera aurea, you can see they have a platter here. Aurea means golden. And libavit is to pour wine on an altar, as in making a sacrifice. So then we actually have three sentences. Two of those are simple sentences, and one in the middle is a complex sentence. Sentence number one, Dua and Kila ed regem venerant. So what are these two slave girls doing? What did they do? Sentence number two has got two verbs in there. We have ferebant and arat. We have two verbs, therefore two ideas. And sentence number three, rex vinum libavit. Simple sentence, only three words. Idea number one, vinum aratim patea aurea. The wine was in a golden plate. Idea number two, which here referring back to the wine, the slave girls were carrying. The wine which the slave girls were carrying was in a golden plate or platter. Servis agnum ad aram duxit. Agnus, quem servis ducebat, rat victima. So agnus is a lamb. You could figure that out. Ara, I don't know if you know the word ara yet. I didn't gloss it because I thought you knew it, but maybe you don't. Ara is an altar. And if you can't figure out what victima is, then all hope for the future is lost. Sentence number one, another simple sentence. Servus agnum ad aram duxit. Right, what is he doing to the lamb? Sentence number two, we have two verbs, ducebat and erat, two ideas. Agnus, quem servis ducebat, erat victima. Quem is from our vocab. It is a form of qui, quae, quod, but it's in a different form. That M there, as you should hopefully recognize from way back in Latin 1, seems to be some sort of an accusative form. It's referring back to the lamb. Two ideas. Agnus erat victima, the lamb was a victim. Idea number two, which, referring back to the lamb, the slave was leading. The lamb, which the slave was leading, was the victim. All right, and we have the verb balawit, which means to bleat, as in what sheep do. Sacerdos, I didn't gloss for you, but I should have. I guess you don't know that word. A sacerdos is a priest. Everything else you should know. Sacerdos victimam inspexit. Victima, quam servis tenebat, balawit. Sacerdos victimam interfecit. Oh no, poor sheep, lamb, whatever. All right, we have three sentences again. Sacerdos victimam inspexit, easy sentence. Sentence number two has got two verbs. It's not an easy sentence, it's a complex sentence. Victima, quam servis tenebat, balawit. There we got that quam again. Sentence number three, easy. Sacerdos victimam interfecit. What did he do to the victim? Again, two ideas. Victima balawit, the victim bleated. And idea number two, which, referring back to the victim, the slave was holding. The victim, which the slave was holding, bleated. This idea too almost is like a parenthetical. It seems that it's giving us more information about the thing that comes right before it. Every single time, this second idea is giving us more information about the thing that falls directly in front of it. The words qui, quae, quod, who, and which, the thing that you need to know, these are not question words. They are used to relate back to that word that was directly in front of them. Much like how last stage, I think it was last stage, we learned the word ubi, meaning when. It's not a question when, it's a statement when. There are words that can be used both as questions and as statements. It is important to know that qui, quae, quod are statement words. Here are some examples in English. The car, which ran me off the road, was a 1972 Ford Pinto. It's not it didn't actually happen, right? Which is not a question. That which is just helping to refer back to the car, so I don't have to say the car twice, right? The car was a Ford Pinto. That's the main idea here. Which ran me off the road? That's my secondary idea. I could get rid of that and be just fine. The woman who won the race passed out. All right. Again, who this time is referring to the woman. The woman passed out. That's my main idea. The information that is additional to that is that who won the race. I know now that she won the race, and that helps me know a little bit more about the reason that she passed out. But who is referring back to the woman. It's not asking a question. The cake, which she spent all day making, fell over. Oh, the cake fell over. That's my main idea in there. Which she spent all day making is additional information that makes us even sadder that it fell over. Those are your model sentences.